Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory as Roma almost are on the verge of announcing their new director of football, Ghisolfi from OGC Nice in France. Di Marzio reported this yesterday evening. The agreement has been found. Now, all that we need to do in order to see the official statement coming from the Friedkins and Roma is for Ghisolfi to see Nice let Ghisolfi free, and thus for the French league to end. And that, I think, is where the announcement is going to come. I think we're going to see it when the French league ends, because I don't think it's legal to announce him now when he's under contract and he's technically still working for another team. So he needs to liberate himself and then he'll be announced. But there are no doubts. Di Marzio confirmed this yesterday. Ghisolfi will be Roma's new general director. I want to give my thoughts on this. I want to speak about structure. Who is he bringing? How will this change or transfer window? What players should we expect? And I think these are all questions which are very important, because we are in a phase where reconstruction is vital and we need to understand what path we want to follow, not only to guarantee a sustainable future, but to guarantee a successful future. And it's fair to say that he's got a massive responsibility of not making the mistakes that other sporting, the general directors of football have made, like Pinto, like Monchi, like Petracchi, but also under the Pallotta era. He needs to try and get back in the days of Sabatini. He needs to try and copy some very viral, let's call them models, like Bologna, like Bayer Leverkusen. So this is definitely the project. It's not going to be easy because, again, we're not a massive rich club. So that is where the creative side of things comes in. Are we going to be good at buying the players which deserve to be here? Are we going to be good at not spending too much money on both the price tag and on salary caps for players who don't deserve to be here? And these are all mistakes that we've committed in the past, so it's about restarting and it's about improving. That is the strategy. But let's discuss this. How's everybody doing? First of all, as always. But number two, what do you guys have to say regarding this? I'm very curious to see everybody's opinion on this. I've got more time today, so I'm gonna go through all comments and opinions. So feel free to pop any comments in the chat, any questions, interactions. Do it, because it would be great. I'm also going to set it to like target. If we can get 90 likes on this video, Ghisolfi is going to be the new Sabatini. I've said it. You just need to hit the like and maybe it will happen. But no, 90 likes would be amazing. And also subscribe if you haven't already. I think his CV is good. There is nothing that he's shown us that is negative. That's the way I see it. The way I see it is that he's very young, and that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. Again, I always keep on saying this when we're here discussing about interior positions and directors of football and all of that. I don't care who it is. As long as he does a good job, I do not care who it is. But yeah, there could be a difference between young and old. The pattern says that emerging teams who have got emerging projects, like I say Bologna, Atalanta, Girona, Bayer Leverkusen, all of these teams that you would want to replicate, they tend to have young directors of football. But it's also fair to say that they tend to have a structure of scouts and a structure of directors of football, and not just one. And this is where I want to bring the news in, that yes, he's the guy of the headlines because he's the guy that everybody wants to know about. But it's fair to say that he's not going to be the only one who's going to arrive. He is going to come with two of his loyal friends, let's call him, and Jose Fontes, who is a Portuguese lad which has been working inside Trigoria for a few years now, is going to closely work with him. So we're seeing a structure. Now, this is what ultimately Mourinho always asked for, a structure to back the manager and a structure which allows the manager, yes, to have a say in transfer windows, because that's what needs to happen, but a structure which doesn't allow the manager to be more than a manager, which is ultimately what Mourinho always said, and it's probably one of the reasons why it costed him the sack. Attacking the structure, attacking the Friedkins, attacking the owners, and calling the structure that they built around Mourinho poor, was one of the reasons that the Friedkins didn't tolerate. So they've definitely learned from this. They've learned from these public attacks that Mourinho gave, and you're starting to form a structure in a sense that, yes, the director of football is one, but we won't see one of them. We won't see only one person. In the case of Thiago Pinto, we will see a group of 3-4 men working together. So that's the news. And also, the other thing that Di Marzio has reported is that the first thing that he's going to do is that he's going to offer, obviously, as they reported a few weeks ago, the new contract to De Rossi is going to be a 3-year contract with option to extend. And the new thing here is that they're going to give the manager a lot of freedom in the decisions of the transfer window. I think the way I see this is learning from Mourinho, because and it kind of ultimately, if you're Mourinho and you look at this, you're kind of fuming, because you're like, why didn't they do this when I was here, and why is it that when I'm gone they start doing this? So from Mourinho's point of view, then you've got all the rights to be mad. But I see a situation where we've kind of absorbed all of the attacks that we've received from a box office name like Mourinho, and we've kind of cleared everybody out, including Mourinho, and kind of built on what Mourinho said. This is the way I see it, because why is it that when you had a manager like Mourinho who attacked the structure and had virtually little say in the transfer window and the decisions of the transfer window, why is it that when you sack him, not only you build a structure around the new sporting director of football, but you also give the manager, in this case De Rossi, a lot of freedom, and a lot of freedom in the decisions and the requests of the transfer window. So yeah, the way I see this is Mourinho kind of got fingered here, because we've improved the situation which was poor, and it took Mourinho a lot of balls to kind of publicly attack for us to improve. The way I see this is this. Going back to Ghisolfi himself, as I was saying at the start, he's got nothing negative in his CV. We could be here complaining, we could be here calling him an expert, we could be here calling him an absolute ignorant, we could be here calling him a handsome lad. But there is nothing that we can say about his past which suggests to us that he's an inexpert. Because a few years ago he was the director of football at Lens, and he brought Lens back in a Champions League position this year. And don't forget that Lens was a newly promoted team 3 years ago. So, and also adding on to this, now that this year, these past few seasons that he's been the director of football at Nice, you also need to look at the evolution of Nice. You need to look at the evolution of Nice, because Nice was a team which struggled a lot in the league, fighting to not get relegated. This year, they almost managed to get Champions League football. They didn't manage to get it, but they were very close on it. Fonseca's Lille apparently got it instead of Nice. So these past two experiences suggest to me that he led teams which improved. He led teams that have evolved into something good. Now, whether Nice and whether Lens, whatever their name is, are gonna keep this rhythm, that's secondary. Because the second a general director leaves, then that's not your business anymore. You need to analyze what the team did when he was in charge, and they did really well. Adding on to this, apparently he's got a great, I'm not going to call it a great because I don't want to hype myself up, but he's got a good record of signings. The signings that a lot of people might see as class signings are Openda. He used to be a player at Lens, and then this year he went to Leipzig and he actually scored quite a few goals. And also Thuram's brother, Kefrem Thuram, he is somebody who Ghisolfi discovered. So yes, he is capable of working around young players. He's capable of discovering talents. Do I expect him to be the new Sartori of Roma? Sartori is Bologna's director of football, who is unbelievable. Do I expect him to be Sartori? Do I expect him to be Sabatini? No, I don't. Because I think to be a Sartori or a Sabatini, you need to be experienced. And this is where the difference of a young director of football and an old director of football comes in. Young directors of football are emerging. They have better understanding of young environments, yes, but nobody will ever beat a good, experienced director of football. A good, creative, and on top of everything, experienced. Because when I look at the situations that we're in, all we need to fix these situations is somebody like Sabatini, who got Nainggolan from Cagliari in a January transfer window for about 3 million. He got Strootman when nobody knew who he was. He got Gervinho when nobody knew who he was. He got Salah from Fiorentina, Rudiger when nobody knew who he was, Manolas when nobody knew who he was, Alisson when nobody knew who he was. So yes, my dream is to have somebody like Sabatini, who was in her past, or somebody like Sartori at Bologna. And that's my dream of having an experienced one. And that is also the benefits of having an Italian director of football for an Italian team. And this is the only thing that I don't like. Again, I am nobody to go against him. All my faith goes to Ghisolfi, but I think the best of the best of the best directors of football, I think, need to be from the country of your team, because you need to understand the culture of football. You need to understand the primavera. You need to understand the concept of Italianity, which isn't a word, but I'm going to transform it into a word. And this also has benefits for the Italian national team. So my only fear here when it comes to Ghisolfi is that he's great, but he's going to give zero attention and he's going to devote zero concentration on actually growing Italian players. Which is, on the other hand, ultimately what kind of De Rossi wants to build. If De Rossi wants to build a predominantly Italian-based team, then if that was his dream, then I think it's wrong to appoint somebody from France. Because if the manager's request is, I want to build an Italian team full of Italian players, Italian young players, players from my Primavera, then you would have appointed somebody from Italy. So this is my only fear. My only fear is that De Rossi's from Italy, this guy's from France, De Rossi's got visions of Italian football, this guy's got visions of French football, and they don't mix together, and ultimately they won't come to massive agreements. But again, all faith to him. I can't wait for him to get started. I can't wait for him to start scouting players, using his team to improve ourselves. The way the media works, we're gonna see a lot of French players being linked to us. Whether that will mean that we will sign a lot of French players, I don't know. But in these next couple of weeks, especially the week after, the months after Ghisolfi gets publicly announced, then we're going to see a lot of French players get linked to us, because it's kind of how the media works. I would love if the one player that he's discovered that I would love for him to bring in Rome is Kefren Thuram. I think he's unbelievable. I think he's the box-to-box midfielder, rapid, agile, no injury-prone midfielder that we need. So maybe we've been linked with him, but again, this is what I'm saying. We're gonna see a lot of players which he's discovered linked to us, which doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna buy them. Yeah. this is the way I see it. The way I see it is this. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hi bro, I have my end of year exams in a few days and these videos are keeping the stress away. Much love, says Luca. That's glad to know that, mate, but don't stress. Exams are exams. I know they're important, but they don't mark your future. So take a breather, read the questions well, and it'll go well. So don't stress. You need to get somebody on from Nice to discuss what we should expect from this sporting director, says Real Dudization. Literally no clue who this guy is, but I hope he's good. In my opinion, we should sell players to the Saudi League as they pay more. The problem is if the players don't want to go, says Inez. Guys, trust me, he will come very good players and Roma next year 100% will be in UCL. And on top 4 teams in Serie A, I believe in Ghisolfi, says Marlenito. Hello, Hemadri, who's back. Not gonna lie, Ghisolfi is pretty handsome. Our scout has been promoted. How can our scout that has found these dead players get a promotion? Unfortunately, I agree. The one name that terrifies me is this Jose Fontes. It terrifies me because kind of what I was saying yesterday, this concept of never learning from your mistakes. I don't know why we've promoted this guy into being somebody who's going to work close to and kind of close to De Rossi and close with Ghisolfi. Apparently this Jose Fontes guy played a very big part in Renato Sanchez coming in a war coming in. So yeah, I think, and ultimately, what I would say is that now that Mourinho's gone, and now that Thiago Pinto's gone, and now that Rui Patricio is probably going to leave this summer, in fact, will certainly leave this summer, I would get rid of this Portuguese air inside Trigoria, because this Portuguese air inside Trigoria, if this Jose Fontes guy was somebody very close to Thiago Pinto, and maybe very close to Mourinho as well. I highly doubt it, but they were all Portuguese. The team clearly rebelled against this Portuguese air. So I don't understand why we are insisting and promoting roles which haven't worked out and will most probably continue not working out, because if he was part of the Pinto team, then he should have left with Pinto. So I agree on that. I think this Jose Fontes guy being promoted doesn't make sense. What's DOF? Director of Football. Same Chelsea will send Lukaku to Napoli for a swap deal for Osimhen. I personally think Lukaku will go wherever Conte goes. I think wherever Conte goes, I think Lukaku's going to go. Conte might go to Napoli, and then I see Lukaku go to Napoli. I think Lukaku's going to be the #1 demand for Antonio Conte wherever you go. If we get Champions League football, which again, I'm not believing in, because seeing Atalanta yesterday, I think Atalanta bottle it every single time. And this is the thing, Atalanta are great. I've already said how Atalanta have changed Italian football. But Atalanta reach finals over finals and never win shit. So it gives me no hope on that Europa League final. I think whenever the pressure starts kicking in, they don't turn up. They're not used to these games. And I think, adding on to the fact that Bayer Leverkusen have never lost, seeing yesterday's game, I think Atalanta have no chance. You never know. But I just see Gasperini's a bottle job. He is. He got to 3 Coppa Italia finals and he's lost all 3. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to get Champions League football. If we do miraculously get Champions League football, do I think we're going to keep Lukaku? I personally think if we get Champions League football, the chances rise. And also the possibilities rise. Openda is a baller. Simo, what do you make of our striker situation? No more Big Rom, Anazmoon plus Tammy came back from an ACL injury. My head says clear them all. My head says clear them all, get the money, refund, rebuild. But I'm also very aware that that is very risky, because clearing all of the 3 strikers that you have and the 4th one, who's Belotti, who will leave this summer, then you're in a position where you need to buy 2/3 different strikers in one transfer window, which it won't happen. I don't think we're going to clear. Out of the 3, who do I want to keep? I've always said this, and my opinion doesn't change. I think Lukaku gives more to games than what we notice. I think Lukaku's so important that sometimes we fail to understand how important he is. I think Lukaku needs somebody to play next to him, because he's reached that stage of his career where he's not that good on the one-on-ones, 1v1 battles. He was really good at it a few years ago in his prime. I think if you put support on Lukaku, I think Lukaku can be deadly. People are not going to agree with this, but I challenge you to find me a striker who's going to come in as ready, as proven, as Romelu Lukaku. The striker is the number 1 position which you can't fuck up, because it's the number 1 position where I would much rather get somebody old who's experienced than somebody young who needs time to orientate. The striker is the only position where this concept of keeping the elderly instead of the young is valid. You can't have a kid coming from Uruguay starting next season. You can't do that, because it's the most riskiest thing ever. So if I would keep Lukaku. I've said this, I've been saying this for the past month. But without Champions League football, I can't see it happen. Would you take Posh at right back, or maybe even Coyote? Coyote isn't bad. I take Coyote. I said we missed Marcos Leonardo. Yeah, true. There could have been a chance. Ghisolfi worked with Italian coach in Nice. Ghisolfi will be better than Bologna director. I don't remember his name. Yeah, again, this is where the hype needs to calm down, because this is where every time we read a new name coming to us, we hype ourselves up and we go, he's going to be insane, he's going to be insane, he's going to be insane, and then he flops. Time, calm. He's young. He's just started this role, and it's a few years now that he started this. Do I think he's going to be better than the Bologna director, like you said? No, I don't, because the Bologna director is a genius. Like, that is what you call a director of football genius. He was the Chievo Verona. Back in the days, he was the Chievo Verona director of football, and he brought Chievo Verona to a Champions League playoff. Context, Chievo Verona got bankrupt a few years ago, and a few days ago they got refunded again. He went to Atalanta and he made Atalanta the team they are now, and he went to Bologna, and in the space of 2 years, after 59 years, he brought them back to a Champions League. The base of that Bologna team is from Giovanni Sartori. So I don't think Ghisolfi can be better than him. Yes, he can, but it's going to take time. And yeah, the fact that he worked with an Italian, that is true. But he did work with an Italian manager in the French league, which is different. But yeah, I get your point. And apparently the Farioli, the Nice guy who's going to go to Ajax, is not bad. Apparently a lot of people say he's going to be a good manager. Since he's French, maybe he can bring us Loriente. I don't want Loriente. I really don't. If he gets Mbappe, the football world would explode. Mbappe, Donnarumma and Theo Hernandez to Roma. Genuine question, what is Didier's style of play? Well, it's offensive, no doubt about that. We were recently linked with French right back from Lecce. Is he any good? I'd have to study them before giving answers. I see a trophy coming to Rome in 3-5 years. I've said this whenever we got eliminated from Bayer Leverkusen, and I'm going to say this again. Call me crazy, call me delusional, call me stupid, call me dumb, call me a bitch. If we play the Europa League next season, we're going to win it. Because the Champions League sharks don't drop into it. I am convinced of what I'm saying. Clip this, keep it. If we play next season's Europa League, we're going to win it. I've said this. I have said this. I have. Clip this. League trophy, I agree, it's going to take at least 5 more years. I think we're very far from competing with Inter Milan, Atalanta, Juventus. You either hit a Napoli miracle season, or the logic says that you won't win the league title in the next 5 years. But I am convinced that if we play the Europa League next season, we're going to win it. I'm convinced about this, lads. I am genuinely convinced. Do you think Pizzilli will play big minutes this year? If we don't make the stupid mistake of selling him, like we've made in the past, then yes. I think we shouldn't sell Bove. I agree with you. Icardi to Roma. I haven't heard any rumors of it. Plus, yeah, look, actually, thinking about it, Icardi is the perfect profile you need for a striker. Not too old, not too young, experienced, and knows how to bag the goals. I'm not saying it's Icardi, the one. Out of Icardi and Lukaku, I choose Lukaku every day of the week. But in terms of profile of striker, we need somebody like Icardi. In my opinion, if you want a good team, you need somebody who's proven. I think starting the season like Chelsea did with somebody like Nicholas Jackson, or starting the season like, I don't know, find me an example. Find me an example of a team who's got a very young striker and isn't performing. I think you need a young striker, but you need to grow him and kind of get him as a second striker. First striker needs to be experienced. I hate to say this because I hate him as a human being, and I think it would be the ultimate metaverse seeing Mancini and Jimenez from Feyenoord play in the same team. But Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord is probably my number one pick for a striker. I'm being very honest with you. I hate him because I hate him, and there's going to be a part of me which will continue to hate him even if he signs for Roma. And if he plays in the same team as Mancini, then it deserves a book. But he's the perfect striker that you kind of need to try and gamble your way through it. I think Jimenez is going to go to Liverpool because Slot is going to go there. But in terms of identikit, that is the striker you need. I'd be willing to spend quite a lot of money on a striker as long as you get a good one, a proven one, and somebody who backs the goals. It's just so important in nowadays, especially with how we want to play offensive football. You need good strikers. If you play offensive football and have got a shit striker, you don't convert the chances and it's just wasted. You need somebody who converts. And also, for some systems, you need also somebody like Lukaku who is more than a striker in a game. Let's start a petition to keep Bove. Morata would be great. Morata wouldn't be bad. And if Morata comes, Dybala definitely stays because the two are like best friends. But Morata isn't bad. He's had a great season. Yeah. I think Lukaku looked better at Inter because Lautaro sat him up great. Well, I agree, but Lukaku in Conte's season at Inter, he was in his prime. Like, Lukaku during COVID era was unstoppable. Lukaku during COVID, when Inter won the league in 2021, top 3 strikers in the world. And I'm not even exaggerating. He was devastating that year. And Lautaro Martinez was nobody back then. Aubameyang says amazing. Balotelli says Vito no. Balotelli's a Twitch streamer. You can't consider Balotelli a football player anymore. The guy literally streams on Twitch every single day. I feel like Nicholas Jackson would do great in Italy, says Michael. Should we swap Tammy Abraham for Armando Broja? No, I'd rather keep Tammy than get Broja. I would exchange Tammy for Lukaku. If Chelsea are up to this, then I would. But for Armando Broja, I wouldn't. What happened with Chiesa? Heard he wants to prioritize the Juventus renewal, and also now that Allegri is leaving and a new manager comes in, I don't see him coming. Unfortunately, I don't too. And he said he wants to stay there. By the way, can I just say a little comment on that on that Coppa Italia final yesterday. If Mourinho did what Allegri did yesterday, he would have gotten a death penalty. Allegri yesterday completely lost his head. He completely lost his head. And Fabrizio Romano is saying that Juventus are considering to sack him earlier, basically now, because he's basically ruined. They had internal tensions and conflicts. Internally, that club's a mess. So, yeah. I'd be very interested to see what happens. But yeah. Buongiorno Calafiori, Frattesi, Scamacca, Pafundi. That would be De Rossi's dream. How about DOF Big from Girona? Yeah, but he's like 40 million, so 40 million is too much. 40 million for a striker who has had a great season is way too much. I believe that you can only ask 40 million for a striker if he's a proven striker. That's Girona's project, to make money out of these players, but 40 million for a player who's had one good season is criminal. Imagine if he flops, you just wasted 40 million. And I'm not gonna be that fool to say that Dovbyk is a proven striker, because he isn't. He's had a great season and he'll probably become very, very good, but he's not an amazing striker. Scamacca would be De Rossi's dream, would be my dream, to be honest with you, which is contradicting because I didn't want Scamacca earlier this year, but he's just so good. He is. He really is. That's the way I see it. People are just throwing out names with no links to Roma and no regard for a transfer budget. Scamacca's so good, or you read that? The Mafias ain't getting the return on investment. He's not a striker, but I really want Fabian. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Fabian as well. Follower in Balogun says Dom. Maybe. Striker, I believe that the striker, if we don't keep Lukaku, is the position that requires the most kind of not knowledge but awareness, because they cost a lot and a lot of them are one season wonders, so you need to be really good, unless you're Sartori from Bologna, get Zirkzee and out of nowhere and you're sorted, but you need to be very careful with strikers. Right, lads, there's quite a lot of you in, so please do hit the like. It would support the channel a lot. Please do it. Takes 2 seconds and it would support the channel community a lot. I cannot believe we're coming towards the end of the season. Summer's coming up, and yeah, it's the end of another season, isn't it? Any summer plans, Simo? I'm actually going to Spain for a few weeks to do this what's it called? Kind of charity work. It's this. I'm going to Bilbao, which, out of curiosity, is where next season's Europa League final is. But yeah, I'm going to Bilbao for a few weeks to kind of do this charity work with football charity work for children and people of an underprivileged community in Bilbao, and kind of be a football manager and explore a bit of Spain. And then before that, I'm going to Spain again with my class, kind of like an end of graduation holiday. Euros are on, so it's gonna be great. Videos are gonna continue coming this summer, don't worry. Whether it's live streams or videos, don't worry, I'll figure that out. But updates. I also want to try and film more entertaining challenges this summer. Got more time. Around end of August, September, remember, I have a challenge on paper with Alea Pilgrim. Cross-sport challenge, football challenge. So that's gonna happen towards the start of next season, kind of end of August, start of February. There will be that video coming out. So it's gonna be a great period. It's a shame that the season is about to end, but the summer starts kicking in. Transfer window starts kicking in. The sea, watermelon, Euros. That's gonna be peak life. You should do some Euro content, says Vincent. Definitely think about that. Nabo, we don't have any money last year either. Dzeko is a rat. Bring Totti from retirement, says Jose. Right, lads, I'm gonna call it quits today. I hope you enjoyed this little live stream. Ghisolfi is going to become Roma's new director of football. Announcement is gonna come these next weeks. As soon as the French league ends, he's gonna be announced. Di Marzio confirmed this. It's 99% gonna happen. Agreements have been found. And then he needs to come in, do a good job, find new talents, rebuild, reconstruct, clear out, and bring Roma back to where it belongs. That's his goal. That's his ultimate objective. But yeah, we've got Genoa on Sunday. Last stadium vlog of the season on Sunday. Yes, I know it's heartbreaking, but don't worry. I've deliberately chosen to stay in Rome Free University next year so that I won't abandon the stadium yet. So yeah, it's going to be the last stadium vlog of the season. Then live watch along for the Empoli game, and then it's going to be it. So yeah, don't forget to hit the like. If we can get 100 likes on this video, it would be absolutely amazing. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in today and let us know. Very good chat today, very interactive. I've enjoyed it. So yeah, thank you all. Love you all. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Get your families, friends, girlfriends, wives, brothers, sisters to subscribe, children to subscribe, and bring them being part of this community. And I'll talk to you tomorrow with more news. Maybe even a match preview. When's the game? Game's on Sunday. Tomorrow's Friday. Maybe match preview tomorrow. Otherwise, more news as the new Roma of the future starts forming. So hit the like. Don't forget. And talk to you soon. Simo out.